Dog, I am so confused by the Los Angeles Lakers at this point. Now, I made a video earlier this week where I talked about why I think they should tank. And honestly, I kind of still think that video is accurate. Like, even after tonight's win against a really good Memphis Grizzlies team, I think that would probably be the best decision long term. Is it a realistic decision for a massive market team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? No, it's not what they're going to do. Whether you think it's what they should do or not, it's not what will happen. And like, that's understandable, right? That makes sense for the market that they're in. But this team is just so baffling to me. I don't understand how they play so bad like they have the last couple of weeks and then beat the Grizzlies, like one of the better teams in the West, a team that has looked like a serious, maybe borderline title contender throughout the first couple months of the season, or the first month and a half or so of the year. They're playing really, really well. And then they come into LA tonight and the Lakers have one of their best defensive games in the season. The Grizzlies don't shoot the ball well at all. And AD drops 40-16 against a really good defensive big in Jaren Jackson Jr., who honestly struggled a lot against AD tonight. Fouled out. That's always been one of the big Jaren issues. Was a team low at -13 tonight as well. AD kind of dogged him. AD had an incredible game, and AD had one of those games where you're like, oh yeah, that's top 5 player in the sport. Now, he's not consistently at that level, but he has had a really good year for the most part, despite some slumping recently. I'm just so confused about this team as a whole, though, and I want to talk about more in this video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel when I upload every single day. I'm sorry, 2,000 subscriber mark on the channel. Uploading every single day, multiple NBA videos a day. Really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's talk about it. So first things first, when you look at the standings, they are currently the 10 seed in the West at 14-12. Now they are only half a game out of the 6 seed. That's how tight the West is, where 5 seed to 10 seed is half a game. That's kind of insane. So they are certainly not at all out of the discussion, out of the running for a top 6 seed and avoiding that play-in tournament. But when you look at the numbers, they have the worst net rating by far of any of the top 10 seeds in the West, and the worst net rating of any of the top 12 seeds in the West in actuality. And they're not all that good of a basketball team, in my opinion. I think defensively, they're a disaster. There's way too much stuff. I saw this possession earlier tonight, and I was like, I didn't even know what to say, to be totally honest, when I saw this possession. Look, what are they doing? 6 seconds left in the third quarter. And Dalton connects on ball. D'Angelo Russell's guarding the screener. Luke Kennard comes to set a screen. How does this happen? Where's the communication? Like, how are we not talking to each other? D'Lo's either got to be yelling out switch or stay. Like, they got to be communicating with each other. How are both guys coming to Jake LaRavia as the ball handler and leaving one of the best shooters in the league wide open in Luke Kennard? Like, I get that Gabe Vincent winds up coming up and making it a contested shot, forces Luke Kennard to hesitate before he gets the shot off, but look where he catches it. Like, this is good defense by Gabe Vincent to recognize this mistake and come out and make this a tougher shot. But how does that happen in the first place? How do you leave one of the best shooters in the league wide open with like 4 seconds left in the quarter and double the ball handler? No communication whatsoever. Stuff like this happens way too much for the Lakers. There's way too many defensive breakdowns, a lack of defensive communication, and often it seems like just a lack of effort in general on the defensive end of the court. And it's just the type of stuff that, as a fan, like you look at it and you go, how does this happen for a team with some of the best veterans in the league? Obviously, you got freaking LeBron. Now, I'm not sitting here saying LeBron's a good defender anymore. He's not. But in terms of leadership, in terms of communication, in terms of playing the right way, you would think these guys would play better and play more together at times, have more communication, more cohesiveness, more chemistry. D'Lo's still a disaster. Connect has not been as good as of late, which is hurting this team as well. And with those two guys not playing great, it quickly becomes like you don't have a ton of options, I feel like, in terms of depth for this team. So even though they won tonight, there's just a lot to not like about the things that are happening as of late. And again, when you look at the numbers, I went over these just a couple days ago, but the numbers are bad. When you look at the net rating, they have the worst net rating of any playoff team by a significant chunk, or any theoretical playoff team anyway, I should say, at minus, I guess, 4.2 before tonight, 3.5 after tonight. But defensive rating is the seventh worst in the league. Offensive rating is right around league average at 15th in the league. They're just not great offensively, and they're not good at all defensively. And I mean, the numbers, the individual numbers or the team numbers reflect that even more so. I mean, they have the best win differential in the league in terms of how many games their net rating suggests they should have won versus how many they have won. They're only projected 33.3 wins this season so far, but they have a winning record right now at 14-2. This doesn't, or 14-12. This doesn't even factor in tonight's game on cleaning the glass. Offensively, like I said, they're average offensively. The numbers are not impressive. They're not a great rebounding team. Defensively, they're a disaster. They don't do anything well but not foul defensively, and it's about the only thing they do really well on offense is draw fouls. And that honestly is a combination of, yes, they have some physical attackers at the rim and stuff like that, some guys who draw a lot of fouls, and I think they do a pretty good job of not fouling, but it also helps that they're the Lakers. I think they get a preferential whistle at times from the refs on these foul calls and stuff like that. And so the question for this team becomes, what is the plan to try to make this team competitive and a legit playoff contender in the Western Conference? And I think I will say this. I like the decision to start Max Christie these last couple of games. I understand that the offense has still been a question mark for him, but what he does provide is a legitimately good point of attack defender, of which the Lakers have very few. Even Cam Reddish coming off the bench. I understand there has always been shooting issues with him, and there still are, but his minutes are also important. He was a +8 in 14 minutes tonight because, again, provides the team with more defense than pretty much anybody else on this roster besides, again, AD and Max Christie. And honestly, Koloko's been a total disaster as a backup center. Now, Jackson Hayes was pretty good, off the court stuff notwithstanding, which again, I mean, screw Jackson Hayes. It's not cool to do the stuff he's done. But if you don't know about that, y'all can go look into it yourself, some domestic violence stuff. But Koloko's been a disaster. He was brought in, I think, as a guy who was hopefully going to be a competitive backup big. And with Jackson Hayes hurt, he's -11 tonight. He's been the worst player probably on the team since he started getting real minutes. I realistically think they started the fourth quarter with a lineup that had Rui and LeBron as the bigs. That's kind of going to have to be the way they go when AD's not on the court. So for 10 to 15 minutes a game, they're going to have to find a way to just play small, realistically, because it's the only way I think they can maintain a high-level offense, and I just don't think Koloko's providing enough defensively as a rim protector, all that type of stuff to justify his spot on the court. And so that, I think, is probably your biggest fix, is you got to play more Max Christie. I think having him in the starting lineup provides that point of attack defender is more helpful. Now, this team would be hugely benefit from bringing in, number one, a guy. I think Utah's a great option, for example, because Walker Kessler would be an awesome addition for this team. If they could find a way to get an elite level perimeter defender, that would really help them as well. But there just aren't very many guys out there around the league who can shoot the ball, play elite defense. And I mean, it's just a very, very rare skill set for guys who are elite level shooters and elite level on ball point of attack defenders. And the Lakers realistically don't have the assets to go get those guys anyway, unless they're willing to trade out away the only assets they have, which are those two unprotected firsts in 2029, 2031. And again, like I said earlier this week, I don't think that would be a good decision, because that would put this team in a rough spot asset-wise for a squad that realistically doesn't have a championship ceiling anyway. With that being said, the one bright spot for the Lakers is that when you look at remaining strength of schedule, they have the fourth easiest remaining schedule out of any Western Conference team, with a strength of schedule that is only easier than Golden State, Denver, and OKC, all three of whom admittedly are playoff teams, but you don't really have to worry about OKC in that mix, because to be fair, OKC is going to be the one seed regardless in all likelihood. So it's really just Golden State and Denver among playoff teams that have harder or easier schedules than LA in the Western Conference. And the other bright spot for this team is when you look at their upcoming schedule, they will play Sacramento twice, which are not home games, but they're in California, will be kind of like home games, and Sac's not a great team. Detroit at Detroit, okay. Or Detroit at home, I guess I should say. That's another winnable game. Then they play at Golden State on Christmas, and after that, after Christmas, 11 of the next 14 games are home games. This is a really nice stretch through about this January 21st game against Washington, where they have an opportunity to try to make a run and try to improve their record and improve their standing in the Western Conference. You combine that with overall one of the easier schedules for the rest of the season, and I think the Lakers will find themselves in a better spot as of late, or in the future, I should say, than they have as of late, if they can sustain a higher level performance. But as of late, it has been really rough for the Lakers, and tonight's win was impressive and a little bit out of nowhere. It was very confusing for a team that has played so poorly as of late, but I just said as of late like 4 times. I'm sorry. But anyways, I don't know. I really don't know what to think of this team. I'd be interested to hear y'all's thoughts in the comment section down below about who you think this Lakers team is and what you think their peak or their max potential and their goals should be. So if y'all did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.